Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Wednesday, the 15th of February of May. I'm sorry this is so late. I didn't have a chance to record this yesterday. I just got back from the PA, which is 6 hours north of Brandon, on Monday evening, and yesterday was just um, it was just a gong show. It was a good day, but I got nothing done, including not getting today's video recorded. And I think that's what today's video needs to be about, is a recognition that we all need time to rest. I went off for the weekend. On Friday, I drove up to the PA about 6 hours north and had a tough but incredible conversation with a colleague, and then dinner with colleagues, and then conversation with my host colleague, and then a beautiful meeting on Saturday morning with the deanery, which is a gathering of the clergy and people of all the churches of a significant geographical area. So everyone from the PA north up to Thompson. No one from Churchill was there, of course, but we had people from, if not every church in the PA deanery, almost everyone. And it was absolutely incredible and life-giving and overwhelming and beautiful. And I met such beautiful and generous people. And we had a liturgy. We had a Eucharist in which we collated an archdeacon, which means we officially welcomed Archdeacon Kara Mandrick as our archdeacon for training and ministry, our education and training, sorry. And we made a canon of Flora Young, who is an Indigenous priest, and she's in her 80s, and she is responsible for Church of the Redeemer on Opaskwayak Cree Nation, and she does some other work. She's a pastoral elder. And so I made my first canon, which is canon in the church, the Anglican Church, at least where I am, is someone who is presented as made a canon, is someone who shares their wisdom with the church. And so we will be developing what's called a cathedral chapter of canons. And that will be a group of people. So we already have a few canons. So they will gather a couple times a year with me and the dean of the cathedral, or the dean of diocese, who is the rector of the cathedral, the priest of the cathedral. And they help us make decisions and give us wisdom, and just they're the history, the living history of the church. They remember what's happened when and why things happened, and they have a lived history and an experience that speaks into the experiences of the church today, and allows me to have that extra set of eyes and ears and a praying heart to help me figure out what we're called to do. So Flora is our newest canon, first one I've ever made. It was very exciting. We also renewed our vows, the lay readers, the deacons, priests, and the bishop, renewed our commissioning and ordination vows to remind us of who we are and what we have promised God we would do. We blessed the oil, which is used for healing. And in the north, it's used a lot. It's very seriously used. And that's beautiful, because it's not been an experience I've had in the past, that healing and chrism oils are used very often. But they do up there, and it's fantastic. So when you go to pray for someone, if someone needs healing or someone needs peace in their heart, mind, or body, they anoint them with oil. And when we have a baptism or a confirmation ordination, we anoint them with oil, chrism oil. So we mark them with the sign of the cross, and we remind them, like King David being anointed as a king, the oil dripped from him. It talks in one of the Psalms, I believe it talks about Aaron, and the oil was dripping off his beard. This idea that this holy oil is a symbol of a presence of God, and a choice that God has made to anoint us. So that was blessed for people to use, for the clergy and lay leaders to use up there. And then I had another great conversation with a colleague, and then another evening with the archdeacon, and then Sunday morning we had an amazing 3-church service at Christ Church in the PA. So there's Christ Churches in the PA, the town of the PA, and then there is Church of the Messiah and Church of the Redeemer, which are on the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, OCN, like 5 minutes away from each other. All three are within 10 minutes. And I had the joint service of all 3 churches at Christ Church in the PA, which is where Cody did his thing, and we had the Mother's Day, and we did all kinds of wonderful things, and a potluck. And then a great afternoon, again, conversations with the leadership of Christ Church, and then back to the Archdeacon's house, where we had a beautiful dinner and conversation. And Monday morning got up and went out for breakfast with one of our Archdeacon Emeritus, and she's a pastoral elder, and she took me to her church, Church of Messiah, and then I came home. And then yesterday I was exhausted, and yet I came into work and realized that I felt like when I got home on Monday night, it felt like Friday night. And I didn't listen to my body. I didn't listen to my heart saying, you need to take a break. Yes, there's piles of work. For those of you who wonder where my post-it notes are, they're back. There's not as many of them because I'm just getting back to using them again. There will be more by the end of the week. But there's lots to do. And I convinced myself that I needed to just get in here and do them. And what happened was a whole lot of great conversations and a lunch with parishioners from one of the churches that I've been working with. And it was great, wonderful day. Got nothing practical, like no bookwork or paperwork done, and feeling absolutely zonked. And then couldn't sleep. So I got up at 5:30 and came into work because I hadn't recorded this and I needed to get this done. We all need to know in our hearts that we are not indispensable. We are important. We are important to our families. We're important to our friends, to our colleagues, to those places we work, places we volunteer. But if we burn ourselves out, we will be of no use to anyone. And I think it's really important that we get a healthy sense of who we are and a healthy sense of who we aren't. I am not God, nor are you God. And God created in 7 days, or in 6 days, and then took a rest. So who are we to not do the same? That being said, I'm not sure when I'm going to take a rest. However, I'm aware that I need to. And I'm aware that when I do stop, even if it's just for an hour or for a meal, I need to learn to focus on what's happening right there. Last night, Rob and I went out for a really good meal. We went out and bought a new television. We are now old and our eyesight is going, and we're in our not forever but long time home. We got a new couch. We're setting up the house. We still haven't gotten the boxes unpacked, hence going out for dinner. But we bought a new television that's going to be delivered tomorrow. And so we went out for dinner, and to sort of say, okay, what's our game plan? How are we going to do this? And we just sat and we didn't talk about work. Didn't talk about the base. Didn't talk about the cathedral. Didn't talk about the diocese. We talked about the new TV on our couch. We talked about some silly things we saw on Facebook. We talked about the deep fried Mars bar we tried that we've never had before, and oh my heavens. That's a once a year kind of treat, but if you ever want a really good one, go to the Dock on Princess in Brandon. And they have incredible burgers, bison burgers, it's so good. But we all sometimes it's just not practical. We can't actually get a day off. As much as we might want to, as much as we try hard, we can't actually get there. Excuse me. But it's important that we recognize that we need the time off and then find ways to recuperate and get those moments. That hour and a half with Rob last night, sitting across the table from him, just not thinking about aches and pains, not thinking about work, not thinking about the forest fires, not thinking about anything but the person I was with and really enjoying this incredible burger, handmade in the restaurant, amazing, was so life-giving. It was so beautiful to be able to intentionally take time aside and take a Sabbath, to take a rest. It wasn't a full seventh day. It was like a seventh hour. But it was important. And you know what? We've got other things booked in. Friday night, we're going on a date of sort of belated birthday celebration for Rob. We'll go out for dinner, and then we're going to a show at a local community theater called Padre X about the Canadian military chaplain who was in the war. I believe it was World War One. I could be wrong. I'll find out on Friday. I know this from history. I know this, but it's escaping my brain. But he was a padre who went above and beyond and was able to serve in a way that no one expected. I don't know that he even would have expected, but he certainly was a hero for the Canadian forces. And I do believe he is the only Canadian padre to have lost his life in battle. I believe he was taken prisoner by the Germans, and he was killed. But but he saved other lives and he brought hope to the troops. So we're going to go see Padre X. I believe it's a one-man show on Friday night, and we're going to have a blast. We're going to have a good evening out and just enjoy each other. So I will be back tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel on Thursday, and I will be back the next week for a few days. There may or may not be some Church at Homes because we have provincial synod, which means I have to go to Calgary, Alberta, for a few days to do that. But I will be back, and I'll keep you updated about what's going to happen with that. But I pray this day that you will be able to find those Sabbath moments, those seventh hours, as I said. If you can't get a whole day away, or even better, a weekend or a week away, what can you do for a little while? Can you knit, or read a book, or watch a television program? Go for a walk in the rain. Play with your dog or your cat. Call up somebody who's got grandchildren and say, can I babysit them? Can I come over and hang out with the kids? Do something that soothes your soul, something that gives you, have a nap. Do something that gives you peace and hope and gives you rejuvenation and helps you be able to sleep through the night so you don't wake up worried about what you didn't get done yesterday. Thank you for being here with me. It is a joy and a pleasure to serve with you and for you. And I'm glad you're all there. God bless.